Okay, so we last time discussed your website plan, and I'll talk to each of you. I think today I'll probably come by and talk to each of you about your plan. But I also wanted to talk more today about the target audience. So was there any questions on the assignment for creating your website plan so far? No.
We barely touched on this, so I mean.
Should I run through it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually due Sunday midnight, so I would like your plan very soon because we are starting. We'll start, in fact, probably today on a little bit of Photoshop work. So your website, from really here on out, you're going to be creating your own website on your own individual topic. It can't be violent, and you know what I mean. So there's student web policies that we have to adhere to, University of Montana conduct code, but it's your decision on what you would like to promote, portray as, you know, something important to you. It is your purpose for the website. The more you know about the topic, I guess over time I've seen the more complete and effective the websites are for students. When they pick a topic that just comes to the top of their head, or maybe they're used to, I've had folks in, they want to sell computers or they want to work on computers. Well, what is it that you'll be doing precisely? What are your prices? Who's your target audience? How are you going to get word to them? And so I think a general idea, but the deeper you know about a topic, the better usually it comes across. So I'd like an in general, what's the purpose and what industry is it in? With that identified, then probably you have goals. It may be just to increase awareness of your topic, your passion in life, whatever that is. So top 2 or 3 goals for your website. And then if you could identify a web URL, dell.com, GMT20191017. So if you could identify what your website would be called, what would you pick first? And you can go to register.com to see if that's already chosen, but for your domain, what might you pick? And you're not registering your domain, so even if you pick something that, you know, Sony.com, it's already taken. But if that's what you really want, you can write it down for me. I'd like you to identify your file names, and you may change them slightly, but in general, kind of the topic. So it's starting to lay out topically what pages or what the content will be in each of your pages. You have to have 5, so I'm requiring 5 pages for this website. They can be child pages. Remember how we had the recreational activities and there was fishing and cruises or whatever you chose? So they can be child pages, that's okay. So in other words, your main navigation may have 3, and then you have 2 drop-down child pages within. So that would be okay with me, but you have to have 5 pages no matter what. 5 content pages. Everybody's going to have a home page. That's your index. So that one's filled in. Page 2 might be about me or about ABC Company. There may be a contact page. There may be a frequently asked questions. Again, it depends upon what your content is. If you sell your paintings or your photography, you might have categories of your work. So maybe you photograph portraits of people, maybe you photograph animals, maybe you photograph landscapes. And you may choose to define, you know, specifically separate those out. Remember your browser tab has a title. So what might that title be? So fill in the main one first of all, but think about the other pages too. So this is a reminder to you that about ABC widgets, contact ABC widgets. So whatever that is. Keywords. If I have a dog walking place, dogs, dog walking, dog hiking trails. It might be training, might be a part of it. Dog training, exercising my dog. I mean, just think of all those things, and you can actually go to somebody else's website. So I don't know if let me see. I don't know if UM Solutions would have anything. If I right mouse, view page source, I may or may not see. I don't see keywords here. Let's go to Dell.com. I'm not sure what I'm going to find. Oops, I don't need to translate to English. That was a wrong click. Okay, so you can go to your competitor. There's a little bit here. You can go to your competitor websites and see what their keywords are. That might help you to come up with a little bit of a list. So they've got a title, and you know, Dell United States, it's the official da 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 da. And then there's some other meta tags. We're going to be adding this as well. Not today, we'll start that the next time. But there's, again, the meta title description. Dell provides technology solutions, services, and support by laptops, touchscreen PCs, desktop servers, storage monitors, gaming, and accessories. So that says it's Dell, it's not this website. So note that. A lot of students will say this website as their description. So Dell, it's who I am, provides. What do we do? They provide technology solutions, services, and support. And specifically, they probably want you to know that you can buy laptops and touch screens and desktops and servers and others. So that's if that kind of helps for the description. I know it's hard sometimes, especially if it's a fictitious company. Okay, what is it that I do? Keywords, there's not much they have here as far as keywords. Sometimes there's more of them. And without going down here further, there might not be a whole lot of keywords here. Used to be that, and there's probably been some changes, but keywords would be actually all these that are contained within the description. And keywords: laptops, touchscreens, PCs, desktop server, storage monitors, technology solutions, technology support, computer support. So you think of all the different keywords that somebody might key in to find Dell. And any web page, you can always right mouse click where view page source or view source, depends on the browser, is what you're going to see as far as the words. But anyway, so that's maybe will help you with identifying some keywords in the description. And again, looking at your competitors or competitor websites might help. Regional, many businesses don't have any tie to anything regional anymore. So we can buy goods we don't even know where it's coming from. It just arrives at our house. And in fact, it arrives in many times within a day. It's kind of shocking, really, that all that's being packaged up and boxed and shipped that quickly. But for dog walking in Missoula, that would pretty much matter. I would be maybe within a 10-mile radius. I can't afford to drive 30 miles to pick up a dog and then go walking. So it depends on your business. The target audience I'll get to in just a minute. And then competitors, again, I would research your competitors. It's kind of like if you're going to open up a restaurant. Most likely you've tried all sorts of recipes yourself. You've probably ate at all sorts of different restaurants, and there's certain things you like and don't like. You've probably thought about who your audience is and what types of foods and recipes and nutrition or dietary considerations are necessary for your target audience. And then you probably go visit their websites and see what they have on their websites. So that's what I mean by visiting competitors. Who are they? And what do they do well? What can you do better? So think of it that way. Links. And this is only links useful for you. So I think I mentioned the student that years ago she had a premature baby, and she did a website on what it's like to be a parent with a premature child and what she went through. And there was some helpful links, and they were medically related. I mean, they weren't just, you know, so you have to be careful. And the other thing is, if you're selling a product, you don't want to link to a competitor type of deal. If it's a supporting product, if maybe I have a dog walking business and I really like this Montana company's treats for whatever reason, I may link to their treats. And I may supply their treats to all the dogs that come, but we may have a little agreement between, you know, Fetch Treats, whatever it is, and myself, and we link back and forth to one another to support each other. So links are meant to be helpful and supportive of you. And the text and the graphics, I know you don't have that right now for probably almost all of you. You may have some great ideas. You may have some things started somewhere in files. You may have images somewhere. You may already have a lot, but it's not all collected together. But I just want you to think about, especially if you're looking at a couple of different web topics, if one is much easier to either get or create the content on, you don't have a lot of time. You know, we've got about a half a semester left. What is it that's going to help you out to create a complete, you know, the content type is complete, the graphics are complete, appropriate, relevant, and attractive to your target. Color scheme, you may or may not have thoughts on that. You may have some initial thoughts. Dog walking, I would think outdoor colors. You know, I can look at the hillside and there's maybe some golden tones, maybe green for grass. Maybe I'm thinking browns for dogs, and maybe even black and white. So those might be kind of my core colors. Might change that, but that could be my core colors. And then strengths and weaknesses, I think that each of you will have separate lists. They're reminders, again. It could be that you visit a competitor. There's something that you notice there that you want to make sure you don't do. Put that down. If there's something that you like that they did and you need to research a little bit, figure out how they did it and how you can add it, then maybe add that as a strength. And it could just be informational. Remember to tell them, contact me. Remember to put a map. There was no map. How do I find this business if there's no map and I got to drive there? So think about some things like that. The target audience, this one is, and really, wait, okay, yeah, it's down at the bottom there. So the assignment part is down at the bottom. So many organizations create what's called a persona, and they may create one person. They may create multiple persons, but oftentimes it's a fictitious, goal-oriented character, and you are hoping to solve a problem for somebody, and you're imagining in your head with probably a lot of information who my audience is. And there's probably a smaller core audience, and then there's probably a larger audience. If you think of shampoo, so shampoo can be sold to everybody from 1 day old, because they have hair, all the way up to, I don't know how old the oldest person is ever, but 120, I don't know, 110, I don't know. We know there's 110s. So, but is shampoo, would the 1 day old buy the same shampoo as the 110-year-old? Probably not. And who in fact buys the 1 day old shampoo? The parents. So my market is not going to be to target little kids. It's the parent. So you have to think about what the topic, service, product, whatever it is you're offering, information, and who kind of your core target audience is. So personas are, and I'll just kind of read this really, personas are based on research and insight. They're not made up. Personas don't want to purchase something, they want to solve a problem. So think of whoever you have as your audience. They're here to visit you to solve a problem. And it could be that they need a better shampoo. I mean, it could be something simple like that. Outline the relevant problem the persona wants to solve, and how you can fill that need. In other words, think about what the persona wants and needs as related to your product, service, or information. How can you solve their problem? And it may be that purchasing your product or getting directions to something, or persuasion in words or images or emotions, or maybe their best interest is what is going to help solve their problem. So the recommended steps in creating a persona: you want to create social consumer insight. Organizations do this through multiple interviews. They can survey folks. There may be customer databases that they purchase, website clickstream data, social media site monitoring. Number 2, model the social buyer persona. So you kind of actually give them a name. You might even supply a photo and the profile information. Could be a fictitious place they live. Could be, are they a suburb? Are they in a high-rise? Are they in rural Montana? Preferred social media websites. Who are their influencers? Who helps them decide what helps them make decisions? Is it a spouse? Is it their best friends? Is it their parents? Is it media? Create the social buyer narrative. That's the story that brings the person to life, their interactions. You'll map the persona's buying process. So the conversation they may have, the social networking sites they may visit, the social buyer persona then will navigate to that site to reach their goals. What are their behaviors? What triggers them? What helps them make a commitment? Create the social buyer persona playbook. So that's the collection of all this. It's placed in a file. It's the folder. It's kept up to date as far as technology and organizational initiatives. Now, I'm not going to have you do all that, so don't. You might be going, oh my gosh. But that's kind of typical. So a company that really wants to know who they target who their buyer is or their audience, they do go through this. And you see surveys. How many times are you mailed, those with a physical address that you've been there a while and they know where you live now? So you get mail and there's surveys attached. They want to know something about you. Facebook. Do you get surveys through Facebook? Probably a whole bunch. They want to know something about you. And then there's all sorts of stuff that you do online that they're collecting. You don't even know they're collecting, but they're learning some things about you.
It's so invasive. It's crazy.
It's scary, isn't it?
A Google search for like socks on Amazon or something.
Pretty soon you have.
Months you're getting deemed for socks.
Yep. Yeah, careful what you search for. Remember they used to say, careful what you wish for? Yeah. So demographics are statistical characteristics such as age, gender, income, spending potential, home ownership, the location, education, employment status. So it's kind of all the facts about a person. Understanding the demographics help you determine who your consumer is. So it may be a female that's age 19 to 40, that's college educated, that has an income of around 50 to 100,000. Psychographics, attributes that are related to the personality of the person, their values, their attitudes, their beliefs, their interests, their lifestyle. So understanding psychographics helps you to see the need for different messages that motivate the consumer. So you might find, again, these are kind of terms that might be typical. You might find a self-assured individual who's very courteous, they dress stylishly, maybe their home is stylish, they're a creative, they're fashion and status conscious, maybe they have their car reflects that, maybe they like trying new restaurants and new foods and new hip places. I mean, that might be your person there. Technographics, how your target audience engages or participates with technology, and which technology platforms they use. So there's different categories of folks. The inactives is about, and this is not super new research, it's probably a couple years old, so are there slight differences in percentages? Probably, but these are the general. So the inactives are about 14% of US users. They're usually age 50 or more, and they're more women. Here, the influencers would be traditional media channels who publish information found on social media. Spectators, large amount, about 73% of the US internet users are spectators. They read blogs, they listen to podcasts, they watch video created by others, and they read customer ratings, reviews, and maybe tweets. Joiners, about 68% of US internet users, so they may, Facebook, is MySpace still out there? I think it is, but is it more like music related? Really focused. They maintain a profile and they may visit regularly. Collectors, about 23% of US internet users, they organize content for themselves and others by saving URLs, they save images, video, and on social bookmarking sites such as Dig, they might use simple syndication feeds or blog lines. They create metadata shared by entire community. This group plays a vital role of organizing the vast amount of information on the internet. So those sites that organize content for you and you can go there and you get kind of all the related stuff, that's kind of what that's talking about. Critics, about 36% of US internet users respond to content from others. They post reviews. They participate in forums. They edit wikis. In other words, they add some content. They're selective about when and where they offer their expertise, experiences, and opinions to engage critics, create an initiative around rating sites. Conversationalists, about 36% of US internet users regularly update their status on Facebook at least once a week. Creators is only about 24%. Those are people who actually generate content on a regular basis, such as they publish blogs, they maintain personal websites, they create and post video, podcasts, or music, articles, and stories. To engage creators, you would have them upload video, images, or stories. So if you really think about that, only 24, and this may be less, you know the old 80-20 rule, so the Pareto principle, about 20% of people are telling all of us what's news and what to think about, what's pictures, because they're the creators. And again, that 24% might be a little bit up or down, but it's probably, it could be some of you and I that are adding content, but most likely, you know, if there was a room of 100, there'd only be about 20 of them, 24 of them that would be actually creating the blogs and the stories. So not as many. FYI, 80% of the influencer impact comes from 20% of the population. Again, that's the 80-20 rule. And let's see. A little bit more about that. It's good to create something sticky or memorable about your website, so it's easy to remember, share, and find. It used to be people would give something away. And that doesn't mean, sometimes it could be a product. It could be that if you register for my site, you get something free. I mean, you still do a lot of that. Then they get your name. I don't know. There's all sorts of, I always hate giving my name out, but you know, you can't access things anymore if you don't.
Or phone number.
Phone number, same thing. You know, I mean, it's just, you really have to do that. But it could be that you have a free payment calculator, or maybe they get put in a drawing. I don't know. I mean, there are things that you can give away still. It depends on your topic, but it's kind of nice to do that. And that it's relevant. So I guess that's the other thing, is it's timely, relevant, up-to-date content for folks. So your assignment, it's not as hard as what I just, because that could take like a lot of time, and I know we don't have a lot of time. But I'd like you to think about who your audience is, and I'd like you to think of them in terms of demographic information. I'd like you to name them. I'd like you to identify the core target audience. Again, if you're thinking of baby shampoo, parents, somebody could be a parent pretty young, and they can be a parent pretty old. But maybe what's the general age? Maybe 23 to 32. I mean, just ballpark. And then my broader target audience might be a little wider, might be 18 to 42, something like that. Again, gender may or may not be based on your persona. Gender can matter, and it depends again. Dog walking service, it might be that more women have to handle the dog duties. I don't know if that's the case or not. It could be that more men have to handle the dog duties. So I guess you have maybe a insight into that yourself, if that matters or not, and it may not. Education and income range, those two you may not think they matter either, but if I'm selling, again, dog walking, so dog walking service, if I don't make a lot of money, I'm not going to pay anyone to walk my dog. So I don't have the choice. I don't have the money to pay somebody to walk my dog. I may love it, but I can't. If you had home repair, so your audience is probably homeowners, people that own rentals, and maybe even property management companies. So you kind of think about what it is you're representing and then who might your audience be. So that's where income and education might come into play. As far as the psychographic information, might be their lifestyle, outdoorsy, likes to walk to work and bike to work, interests, outdoor magazines, hunting magazines, animal shelters, I don't know. Interest could be anything that relates to your persona, your person. Topics they talk about, what bothers them, what they do for entertainment. It could be that the climate bothers them, the climate, if they believe there is a climate crisis, it might be that bothers them. If they want to do something about it, they may become an activist, or maybe even go towards a governmental, where they can become an influencer. They may get their stories from PBS, BBC, peer-reviewed research. So it depends on who your target audience is. Technographic level, I think most everybody probably has some technographic level, but my 88-year-old mom doesn't really have a lot of technological ability. She's got some, but she doesn't have, the iPhone. She has the old flip phone still. You can't text message her. She doesn't really look online at stuff. So if you're targeting older homeowners for whatever reason, for repairs, that's my mom. So again, you have to keep that in mind. There's some resources that might help you if you're kind of wondering, well, geez, where the heck do I get all this demographic stuff or psychographic stuff? So Quantcast might be a good place, google.com/trends, Social Mention, and Bing Social, and Mashable. So those are some places you might want to check out to help you out. Does that kind of help in coming up? And so you can either submit 2 documents, or the other thing you can do is copy and paste that part filled out into, oops, I'm on the wrong document, number 6. So I could just put it right there, and you can upload 1 document. I've got multiple document uploads, so you're okay either way, but whatever makes most sense to you is fine. And again, do your best. I know the persona thing is harder, but do your best to come up with who you think your audience is, how you can solve their problem. Questions? So far okay? All right. So for the rest of today, I'm going to go ahead and close those 2 documents out. And I have that due for Sunday midnight, and I know that's really soon, but what I'd like to do is have you decide on your topic soon, and then we can talk about any potential problems or barriers that you might run into. and go from there. Sometimes I have ideas or questions and maybe even a different direction, or if you're, you know, kind of short on information for one page, sometimes I can help you come up with, you know, what might be interesting to your audience too, what might help them. Sometimes history helps them depending upon, again, what it is, but if you look at that, why it is the way it is sometimes is helpful. So that is in Moodle, posted in Moodle. And I turned on the Dreamweaver stuff. I don't think we'll go into Dreamweaver today. I think I'll go ahead and have you work in Photoshop. So I'd like you to create a logo, and I know you don't have, so two different ways you can go. So if you have a pretty clear idea, and I'm going to close this down here in a minute, stop my recording, but I'll come around and ask each of you what your web topics are, and we can kind of talk about it a little bit. If you really have a pretty clear idea, I would say go ahead and start getting pictures. You can grab online pictures. You might have some, you know, yourself. You might have some on social media that you've saved over time. And you can just start grabbing the collection of those images. And what I'd like you to think about is creating a logo for your organization, whatever that is, for your web topic. So some sort of a little logo. Okay, the logo may be a glyph, I'll call it, of some kind. It may be more drawing-like, so that's what I mean by a glyph. It may be a picture of a flower and it's a black and white and that's it. So it might be something that simple. It could be that you have a picture that, you know, like dog walking. I might have a picture of Bo that I think is perfect for my dog walking, and so I want to make it logo sized. Maybe I want to change the background a little bit. There might be some other things I want to do to edit that particular image. Maybe I want a really big sunshine on there because I love sun. I mean, I don't know, whatever relates to your particular topic. So I'll go ahead and stop my recording now.